Court has declined to revive the Biden administration's recent initiative to cancel student debt for millions of borrowers, leaving the issue unresolved as the appeals process continues.
The justices rejected the Justice Department's request to lift a broad appeals court order that has blocked the SAVE plan.
Following a recent visit by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, the U.S. and China have agreed, among other things, for President Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping to have a phone conversation. The Federal Aviation Administration has grounded SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets while investigating the cause of a first-stage booster crash on a landing barge.
SpaceX proceeded with one of 2 scheduled Starlink launches.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact.
Weird how they always cut that last news story off. Like,
encouraged.
Can we get a cup
by the way,
here, please?
Oh. Oh. What? You know. Right here. Right here. You know what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm saying. You probably changed.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Not so hot now. Was before.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
What am I, a clown? I'm here to make you laugh. I'm here to amuse you. I don't know. The band is not amusing me. Yeah. Get on with it. Get on. Come on. I hate musicians. Come on, you dopey Rush wannabe. I'm sorry. I don't want to insult the band. We love the band. They're great players. Good morning, folks. Or should I say, horrible morning. Not really. It's Friday, August 30th, 2024. The end of August. And sadly, kind of the end of summer. Well, some contrarian will probably argue with me about that, which I will have to go, pay a visit to the roof with him. But Labor Day weekend, end of summer, the official end of summer. Now, sure, summer doesn't end until the solstice on the 21st. I believe it's the 21st, which happens to be my wedding anniversary. But for all intents and purposes, this is the end of summer. People go back to work. People go back to school. They stop coming out to party on the beach. And for me, summer is over. It's always just a drag of a weekend. Now, that's a 3-day weekend. Yeah, off Monday. Yeah. But you know what? You're off Monday, but then hell starts Tuesday. Report to hell. Fresh Tuesday morning. Well, that's so fresh. As you can probably tell, I didn't sleep again. I didn't sleep because I was up, tormented with the thought that there will be no more bacon because of windmills. Not that I love bacon that much. I do enjoy a good bacon BLT or, throw some bacon and eggs and all. I enjoy that. I just can't get the connection to windmills and bacon. And it bothered me. Like, I'm not a stupid person. I'm not like Einstein. I can't even say his name. I'm not like Einstein or anything. But I should be able to understand the connection between windmills and no more bacon. And I can't. and it's going to drive me nuts, which is a short drive. Actually, I could walk there, right? I could park the car and walk. Anyway, we're going to have, I mentioned horrible. We're going to have a horror director and screenwriter, Brandon Rhiness, who was suggested to this program by Jeff Scott, who has been on this program before. A great character actor, really good guy. But I was under the impression that he's in this new movie, which is a sequel, Grotesque 2. Can you talk? Can you just get the lips out of the way and talk? Grotesque 2. I don't see Jeff Listen in the credits here. And now I'm confused. It doesn't take a lot to confuse me. You know that. But hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this, and we'll audition for the horror movie. Wouldn't I be great in a horror movie? I mean, I could be the villain. I could be just a corpse. I could be. This is me. I'm. When it comes to horrible, you don't get more horrible than me. We know Ron Kane is a big fan of the horror genre because he's a horrible person. Steven probably is. He would like to, I don't know, even the playing field. I don't level the playing field. Whatever. He's pretty evil, for all the positivity and lovey-dovey, positive kumbaya. He wants to murder your children. It's true. I've had private conversation with him, and he fantasizes about it. Truckload of dead babies, unloading them with a pitchfork. This is Steven. And pitchforking. I don't know. You can't appreciate that on the radio, but it's an unbelievably comedic gesture on my part. Anyway, and then in the second hour, we're going to have a life coach. And Ronnie Louisa is her name. I think she specializes in women. And I don't think we have any women on this show. I mean, depends on who you ask. I guess if you ask one of these testosterone pushing right-wing guys about the gentlemen on the show, they would probably tell you that some of them might be women. Of course, me, I'm androgynous, aren't I? I'm just a bald stick in the mud. That's what I am. Just a bald stick in the mud. Anyway, so it's a Friday. I got gigs this weekend. They are end of summer gigs, and that kind of makes me sad. So I'm trying to get happy. So I'm depending on you to make me happy. You make me laugh. How about that? In the meantime, there's always the reliable fallback position that we have, which is Get High Daily. And that's why we have a sponsor called Daily High Club. And when we come back, we're going to meet the horrible, they call themselves guest hosts. I just call them shit the cat drug, Dan, in just one moment.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. I don't know what makes you think it's a game. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
It looks like Carl is asking for a link. Look at this. It came up. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room right now are horrific horror movie showbiz lingerie enthusiast Ron Kane, proprietor of Ron Kane's Incorporated, Stephen the Baby Killer Ortiz, and my best friend since 1959, T.S. Eliot. T.S., good morning.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. The prosecutor versus felon presidential debate is coming up. Get your official debate shot glasses and post-debate antacids right here at minddogtv.com. Minddogtv.com. Support your local mercenaries. And,
all right.
and
there's
also,
more. There's more, ladies
yes,
and gentlemen.
there's more. Yes, and more. Happy birthday to you.
You know, we could have went. I could have went 65 years without hearing that crap.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
Marilyn, you have the years have not been
well. I have not aged well. No,
the years have not been kind to you.
We have
sagging a little on the titty thing. I don't know. I'm sorry. The horrible Ron Kane wants to say something.
I said I got a birthday greeting for you too. It's only
vagina juice is natural lip balm.
What the fuck is that?
Why?
I don't know. I just don't know. You guys got bacon? Any of you guys got bacon?
Turkey bacon, the good stuff.
Now, why does the windmill not kill turkey bacon, but it kills pig bacon?
I didn't know windmills did that.
I didn't know they did that either, to be honest.
You mean he lies?
Who?
Trump all day yesterday with the windmills and the bacon and the whales. Insanity.
I started a story earlier today. Let me preface this by saying my default position is if Trump is speaking, he's lying.
So does bacon? Windmills aren't destroying the bacon? I stayed up all night trying to figure out how a windmill could destroy the bacon. Oink oink. Windmill. Oink oink.
I have one theory, and I could be wrong, but bacon is a particular type of cut of a particular type of meat from a particular type of animal. So if you throw the bacon, let's say, into the windmill and the windmill chops it up, it's no longer that particular cut, but it's a different cut. And therefore it's no longer bacon. That's my theory. And I'm reaching really fought my ass for that one.
Maybe the windmills are pushing the methane from the pig farts back to the pigs, and it's suffocating them and they're dying.
Carl Escobar is reporting from south of the border, right? South of the border. Where are you, Carl Escobar?
I'm in Rio in Brazil doing my secret business.
Do they have bacon there?
They have what? No, they have little regular bacon. I don't think anywhere else does turkey bacon except in America. It sounds disgusting.
Sounds really gross. Yeah,
it's really good. It's really good. It's all of the misery and none of the fat.
See, now the chickens, because I have chickens and turkeys in my yard. I think the chickens I don't know. I guess they're happy that they're not being turned into bacon, but I think they're sacrificing the turkeys. They're basically tricking the turkeys into getting their asses chopped up into bacon. I don't know this for a fact.
Well, I've never seen chicken bacon. I've only seen pig bacon and turkey bacon. I've never seen chicken bacon. I've never seen possum bacon or.
Well, my question is, how did you get the turkey and the pig to mate to create turkey bacon?
It is the right mood music and Molly.
Oh, that explains. Okay, you know, I've hooked up with a few pigs because of Molly myself, so I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Do they just look into the mirror for hours and go, look at my hooves, look at your hooves, look at mine, look at yours.
So, Carl, is this a completely like a pleasure trip, or are you there on some kind of business? You don't have to tell us about your drug smuggling business, but
or my assassination business. This is purely recreational. It's just I'm only here till next Friday, but I'm in a different area. I've got a roof pool. I'm living like a king this week.
It looks like you're there for medicinal purposes. Like, do I detect a slight cough that won't go away for another few days?
I've had one beer as well. I've had one beer in 4 days.
Well, you know what they say in 12 steps, 4 days at a time.
Is it the same beer that's been open for 4 days, or you just started it and you finished it 3 days ago, and you haven't had another one.
The only 12 steps I will ever do are the 12 steps that I stumble to my death after the 57th beer one day. I get hit by a bus.
On the Spanish stairs. So is this all about a hot woman, a hot Brazilian woman?
Isn't everything?
I encourage that.
Everything? I don't say too much about my personal life. Yeah, I'm.
So you're like, if I may, kind of
just
summarize my impression of you. You're like Hugh Hefner with an English accent. Is basically who you are. Much younger Hugh Hefner with an English accent.
Have I lost you, or you frozen? I frozen, right?
I think you're frozen.
Yeah, there we go. I've got 5G in Rio, so it's giving me brain cancer and allowing me to talk to you from a different country, so it's good.
We had a guest pop in, but he popped out. He must have been scared.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't be in here.
Vagina juice is natural lip balm.
That is so weird that he came in underneath my video window there. It was like transparent, very weird, kind of. Never saw that before. Interesting. Carl is totally frozen, isn't he? Hugh Hefner. Maybe he's like the real Hugh Hefner now. We need to bury him.
I hear you fine. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're stuck. Your image is stuck, like doing a.
Yeah.
I think I shit myself face.
It's what it looks like. Yeah.
The chopper's here for me.
All right.
Oh, God.
The end of Goodfellas.
All right.
Well,
so
cartel's got.
I don't know if you can see this, Carl, but this is what your face is stuck doing. Let me see.
We can't see that. We can't see that crap.
Come on, Boomer. Get your phone off the camera.
All right.
Our guest is back. I don't know. It must have got a second when somebody convinced him. Yeah, it's safe to go on that program. While he was just like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Ran away. Now he's back. So we'll be bringing him back.
I'll bail. I've got some things to do this morning, but I'll pop in another day.
All right. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, next week is a good week because I will be depressed. All right. Have a great day.
Okay. I'll come in to see you today. See you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Our first guest is here. Now, Brandon Rines, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But listen, you guys know. I never pronounce the guest name right, or once in a blue moon, and I believe there's a blue moon coming up, according to my wife, and it's going to be the end of the world. But he is a director, screenwriter, and director from Edmonton, Canada. He also writes and publishes comic books and graphic novels. This is Ron Kane's kind of guy, isn't it? This is Ron Kane's. Ron Kane wants to be this guy. He really wants to be this guy, but unfortunately, he's stuck doing comedy and whatever, and lingerie sales and whatever else he does. Anyway, Brandon is the director of Grotesque and now Grotesque 2, which is coming out. I just want to play the trailer before we bring him in, and then when the trailer is over, he will be here.
Do you feel lost? Well, I'm Cornelius Spretzer, and I'm here to help. Through the power of the Lord, I can heal your pain. Send me a picture. Be sure to include cash or a check to ensure you receive maximum blessing. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth. Rise and be born again, Sister Noble.
Have you heard of our Spretzer spiritual retreat?
Welcome to Camp Holy Springs. I had a lot of fun the last time I went camping.
There's some terrible news. 2 members died tonight.
I'm the last person in the world you want to make angry.
I'll take that into consideration.
I have people to kill. Lots of people.
I've missed this.
Are you the Mildred that killed all those people?
Mm-hmm.
Give hell, Mildred!
They're the new boss in town. Sorry, that sucked. Where the f is everyone?
Scared, Mildred?
I mean, yeah, a little. That is messed up. This is gonna be awesome!
She looks like fun. Anyway, the screenwriter and director of that is here with us now. Brendan Rhiness. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Close. Rhiness.
Rhiness. Okay. Yeah, you're Royal Rhiness.
Yeah, good comparison.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me
on. You're from Edmonton, Canada. That wasn't filmed in Canada, was it?
Sure was. Yeah.
Was, but there's sunshine and there's like it looks like you can actually go swimming. You can't do any of that stuff in Canada, can you?
Summer, spring.
No way.
One sentence ending A.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
All right. Now, your film. It's probably a very good film. We haven't seen it yet, but it would be much better if you would have cast me in it.
I'm sure a lot of people say that, but I'll keep it in mind for part 3.
Everybody wants me cast. This is good. This is good news for me. I did not know everybody says that to you. We are desperately begging to be putting in a film. So your next film, please consider us. Whatever, even if it's just as roadkill or something. I would. Steven is really suited well for that role. But
it's true. Actually, half of me plays dead all the time, so I think it's unbeatable. So,
I don't like to brag, but I make a great token black.
He does make it, except he can be a little rough to work with, so he can be a little contrarian on the set. You need somebody to always be willing to escort him up to the roof.
Well, not all tokens are smooth around the edge. Some tokens are rough around the edges. Just look at your quarters and nickels. Sorry.
So, Grotesque, the original Grotesque, is that a prerequisite? Do we need to? Because I have not seen that one either. I'm not a horror guy. Ron Kane is the horror guy. He's pretty horrible. I don't know. I don't sleep well when I watch horror films. Well,
honestly, I would say Grotesque is not some. I'd say it's more comedy than it is horror. It's not scary. It's definitely you're gonna laugh more than you get scared. But you probably should watch the first one before you watch part 2. But the story would still make sense without it. But I would definitely recommend watching the first one just so you understand like where Mildred's coming from and why she's doing what she's doing.
Now, is Mildred unkillable like every other
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah.
No, she's at this point she's more or less human. She does seem to have a lot of luck on her side that she kind of just happens to find weapons wherever she needs them and things kind of fall into place, but she's definitely human.
Okay, so what I meant by unkillable, I didn't mean like lucky so that the lightning struck but didn't hit her and hit the horse next to her. I meant like hit her in the face with an axe, and what do you know, the axe then she rises up with the axe meat mark in her head. And
you hit her with an axe in the face and she's probably gonna die.
Okay.
I think we're learning some things about GD here that probably we were more comfortable not learning. But now you mentioned one director of horror said that all horror is comedy in some way, but you said Grotesque is more comedy. Is Grotesque 2 not as filled with yucks?
Yeah, they're both funny. It started off like the first draft of the script was a lot more serious. It was going to be a more serious slasher movie, and then somehow as I rewrote it, it became funnier and funnier, and then it just kind of turned into what it turned into. And even my parents came to the premiere, and they're not horror people at all. They absolutely love.
Wow. Is it impossible to cut? Because sometimes it gets, you're stretching the suspension of disbelief just a little bit too far in some of these things, unless you're a child. So it has to be funny. You have to goof around with it a little bit on some level, right? Or not?
It's definitely goofy. It's not serious. There's if you're looking there's a lot of things that aren't exactly realistic. But I think that's part of the charm of the whole thing. I think that's why the first movie was so popular, is that it just it's kind of like the Evil Dead movies or something, where, but kind of funnier version where it's like it's not realistic, but it's definitely a blast to watch.
So now, how long have you been making films?
Well, I say like seriously since 2015-ish. I've been kind of, I've been writing all my life, and I've been trying to make films, since I was a teenager, but it wasn't until 2015 I got laid off from my day job. And I kind of decided, like, well, do I get another shit job that I hate? Or maybe I should try going for this. So I decided, like, you know what? I'm going to go all in, and I'll just take it a month at a time. And if I run out of money, I can always get another day job. So I just started, writing like crazy and just putting all my effort into making movies. And then, here we are, almost a decade later, and still taking it a month at a time. Indie film's not easy, but it's, I've been managing to make a name for myself, and I'm doing it full time, and having a lot of fun doing it.
Okay, so what's the name you made for yourself? Because we know you as Brandon Reines. So what's the name? Or is that the name you made for yourself?
That's my name. Yeah, my company's called Higher Universe, that I make all my comic books and movies under. But yeah, I direct under and write under my real name.
Yeah, TD, if you want to part in the movie, you can't be an obnoxious dick. This is
but see, I don't want to part in the movie. I want him to help me with my comic book.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want him to help you with the comic books, you can't be an obnoxious dick.
As a matter of fact, you got that wrong. Actually, in the comic book industry, being an obnoxious dick is how you get ahead.
Oh, well,
that's why I haven't made it so far. I'm just learning how to be an obnoxious dick from you.
Got to make a note of that. No comic books for me. Okay. All right. So now, good for you. I mean, I am excited to hear somebody taking a leap of faith and saying, "Screw the corporate world. Screw a day job. I'm going to do what I want to do because you only live once." And good for you. I mean, so many people live in a fear-based thing, like, how am I going to pay the rent next month and all that kind of stuff. So, but
yeah, that's silly stuff.
Stupid stuff like that, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're going to be paying a rent on either a plot of ground that you're buried under, or you're just going to be blowing in the wind. None of that stuff really matters in the long run. This is the Napano philosophy.
I think this is where we play that disclaimer about the views expressed on this show.
No. This is absolutely fact. You can fact check it. The fact is, we're all going to die. So you make the most of life, and congratulations on that. Now, raising money to do your own films, that's got to be, because you said till I run out of money. That was why you support yourself while you're writing, but to get the film made does take a little scratch. That's got to be the number one biggest challenge. Yes.
Yeah, it's always hard. It's a struggle for everyone, and honestly, like for Grotesque 2, like myself and like pretty much most people that worked on it were like had to do it volunteer, otherwise it couldn't get made, because I think we had like 270 some cast and crew working on it. And
wow.
It's like, yeah, I don't have a day job, so it's like it's hard for me to foot that bill myself. But we'll do crowdfunding and we'll raise money in any possible way we can. But we kind of asked people when it happened, like, I'd made some smaller films where we did raise enough money and like cast crew would all get paid. But I kind of told everyone, it's like, look, if I'm responsible for paying this myself, like we don't have a studio we work for or anything, like I don't have the cash to like put in several $million bucks. However, like if you're willing to volunteer, you can make yourself part of this like awesome movie. And everyone was like, hell yeah, I just want to be part of it. And some of them, since we made Grotesque, have got, like, especially Elizabeth, who plays Mildred, the main character, she's gone on to do bigger films, and now she's doing, she's working in Vegas and LA and doing these bigger American movies and stuff. And all of a sudden, she's kind of just like rising up the ladder of, basically her celebrity status and is kind of growing just based on Grotesque and other movies she's doing. So it's always a struggle. I would love to just be able to have someone give us, a $50 million tab to kind of make the movie on, but it's just not the way the indie film works. So we're always, raising money and then selling it and then turning the money we make into the next project and everything. And it's not easy, but at least we're having fun.
Now, how are
Elizabeth
you doing
Chamberlain.
stunts? Because you could, I mean, it's probably like, because stunt people cost money, and I can see like in a movie that you're doing, you could save money by not having stunt people, but then you still would have to get the stunts done.
Yeah, our stunts aren't anything major, and Elizabeth and a lot of our actors are trained in doing stunts and that kind of thing. So yeah, obviously we do everything safely, but we just we figure out ways that we can basically maximize what we put into the movie without having to make it look like get too expensive. So I wouldn't say we cheap out on things, like we would never cheap out on safety or stunts or anything like that, but we always just find a way to do it that it looks more expensive than it is.
Okay, now
there's a couple times we've used stunt people, but for the most part, we just don't need to. We just find a way to do it safely without needing any.
Okay, so in terms of safety, on a scale of Rust to Twilight Zone, where do you fit in? No,
Is that an actual scale? Do we have a scale on that?
That is an actual safety scale. Rust to Twilight Zone.
Wow.
And
whatever the opposite of Rust is, that's us.
Yeah.
Well, the Wizard of Oz was pretty. The original Wizard of Oz was pretty dangerous set to be on, from what I hear.
Especially if you were Dorothy.
Yeah, especially with the swinging midgets and stuff. No, let's come back to what you said. I would love for I think you said 7 million or whatever number you put on there. I would like under the careful what you wish for thing, because I understand how that could. Yeah, I would love somebody to just put a big budget behind this and give me the ability to make the film I really, really, really want to make if I had an unlimited budget. But at that point, you're not in charge anymore. Even though you're the director, you're not really in charge. There are people who don't know anything about your art and craft who want to tell you what you have to make, right? And so, do you really want that, or is that you just like the money? And just like those people
that's
die
the
at the
problem.
day after they give you
Even
the
some
money.
of the scripts I've written and stuff, like as soon as there's more money involved, and then you get all of a sudden you got a boss, and then I've had movies too that I was gonna direct, and then all of a sudden well, they want a more experienced director, so I get booted off my own project, and then it's like, and then they rewrite it themselves, and then next thing you know, it's not my movie anymore. So at least with Grotesque, it's like, we don't have a lot of money, but we call all the shots. Like we do everything the way we want to do it, and there's something to be said for that too, right? I mean, I got to be creatively fulfilled. Otherwise, I'd probably take a directing job if someone just paid me. I'd direct anything, but yeah, I like being able to make, and I like our team to be able to kind of do what we want. And if all of a sudden just some guy in a suit from Los Angeles was calling the shots and telling us what we could or could not do, like it would make me angry for one, and also the movie would suffer for it. It wouldn't be what it is.
Right. Well, this is where the disclaimer comes in. This is just my opinion, but I am much more happy not having to answer to somebody who listen. If they were really artistically inclined and knew my vision and was supportive of it and wanted to put money behind it and let me be at least the CEO of the project, and they could have a voice in it and all that stuff. But if somebody wanted complete control and they don't have any artistic sensibility or know what I really going after, and they're just about money, I'd rather be dead or poor or whatever, or living without bacon and no windmills and nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a movie, one of my first movies, the distribution company, they basically changed the title of the movie without telling me. They basically just took it away and screwed it up, for lack of a better word. And then it's kind of like you get that, you hear about those stories in Hollywood all the time of the studio messing up the movie, and it's kind of like when it happens to you, it's kind of like a kick in the balls. It just sucks. And even if I'm watching a movie, if I'm watching a Tarantino movie or whatever, it's like I want to see his movie. I don't want to see his movie, but then studio executives changed everything to make it their own. Like no one wants that. You want to. It's like whether you're listening to a band or watching a movie, you want to see that person's version of it, not a watered down corporate version.
Right. I think I'm going to say Ron is a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. I don't think Steven is. I think last time I said he was, he tried to have me executed or something.
Well,
so
there's two different Tarantinos that are making movies. There's the father and the son. So you have to distinguish which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Tarantino's
that's probably what that's what his objection was. It wasn't the fact that You had the wrong. You didn't clarify which Tarantino you're referring to. That's all.
Right. Now you mentioned distribution. This film, Grotesque 2, is not out yet, right? It's coming out soon, or is it out now?
Yeah, correct. It's out on DVD. We're selling DVDs, and it will soon be out on streaming.
See, I don't have a DVD player. What am I going to...
Missing out.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Siri, I'm not talking to you.
Well, Matt, you don't have to have a DVD player. Do you have a PlayStation or an Xbox?
No.
Do you have a disk drive on any of your computers?
Nope.
Yeah, you could buy a DVD player on Amazon for like $20. So it's
that's what I was going to. I didn't know people would still make them because I know CD players. It's like you have to kind of go to another planet or another country or something. Nobody has them anymore.
Yeah, I have a portable DVD player. It's not much bigger than a book, and it costs like $40, I think.
All right, I'll come to your house and we'll watch the movie together. You making popcorn?
And first of all, you're not people like you aren't allowed. Oh,
you're gonna have a birthday sleepover? Watch scary movies in your PJs?
A pajama party. It was going to be a pajama party. We're going to end pillow fights afterwards.
Tickle fights? You say tickle fights, and you had me a tickle fight.
All right. So now this is a challenge now, right? I'm sure your preference would be to have a theatrical release. I'd say I'm sure. I'm not sure. I'm asking. Would your preference be a theatrical release?
Oh yeah, obviously theatrical release would be ideal. Our friend, probably the biggest Edmonton movie is Skinamarink. Came out a couple years ago. Some friends of ours made that one, and that became a massive hit. And yeah, I got a theatrical release, and they're doing pretty well. So I mean, it'd be great to follow in their footsteps, but it's too hard. We did 2 screenings here in Edmonton, and we made some money at that, and we kind of didn't quite have a sold out show, but we were close, so that was nice. But it's the logistics of that is just difficult. It's something I've never dealt with, and then again, we would. I don't have the ability to get it in theaters worldwide myself. I'd have to go through some sort of distributor. And I've had a history of just getting ripped off by distributors. So I'm like, you know what? If I sell the DVDs, if I print them myself and then sell them for a profit out of my own house, it's like, hey, that's real money coming in. And then if I put it on streaming, distribute it myself, that money goes to my bank account instead of, the distributor's bank account. So I'm kind of happy with that now until I can get a better deal, but at least that, I'm making some money at it.
Right. Wow. It sounds, the way you just described it, it sounds like a mob syndicate. You can't get in theaters unless you make a deal with the devil. The studios have gotten all the distribution, the major Hollywood studios have gotten all the distribution avenues for theatrical releases sewed up. And if you want in, you're going to have to do a favor for The Godfather.
It's hard. I mean, theoretically, I guess I could go to small independent theaters, but I would have to contact, each one in every single city around the world, somehow make a deal with them. And then it's then I got to travel around the world too. I know some people do that, right? We had someone here recently in Edmonton that was here from Germany touring their horror movie. And it's my pockets aren't deep enough to, do a world tour with a film, but I would love to figure that out. But at this point, it's just so much easier to do it on streaming, even if you don't make a lot of money at it.
So a director I've had on also in the horror genre, James Balsamo, he does a lot of direct to Walmart distribution. Are you familiar with this? Walmart picks it up and then people, buy it. So I guess they're pretty cheap. I mean, I'm denigrating the typical Walmart customer here, but my vision of somebody walking through Walmart in the entertainment section, it's just like a impulse buy. Oh, buy that movie, and they're just looking at the price tag. Oh, it's cheap. It's better than going to the movies on a Friday night and buying popcorn for all 20 kids.
I've never put one of my distributed myself movies with Walmart. Maybe I'll look into it. But yeah, it happened with that first movie I was telling you about where they changed the title, and basically we hadn't heard from the distributor, and we were kind of wondering what happened. And also one of our actors messaged me, and he's like, I was in Walmart and I think I saw the movie. It was called something else. And I was like, wow, it's been released. And it's just here's a picture of it, and it's got a different title on it. But I'm like, that's my freaking movie, and it's in Walmart apparently. So that's just the kind of
That-
bullshit you got to deal with. And I was like, yeah, fuck that.
I can't imagine like walking through the aisle and seeing a movie and thinking, "Well, that cover." I mean, how you'd have to pick up the cover and read it to realize, "Hey, I'm in this movie. It wasn't called this." It's a very weird thing, man. Well, I'm glad he found it, but so you didn't even know the title of the film had been changed
No, and of course, like the new title doesn't make sense either. It was, just I just chalk it. I basically washed my hand of that movie. I don't even really mention it anymore. I pretend it doesn't exist. If you look it up on IMDb, I'm sure you'll figure out what it is. But yeah, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and it left me untrusting of.
You're not supposed to eat them.
Now, so on a slightly staying with Walmart, but on a slightly different angle. Obviously, Matilda would be a good action figure, but what about any other character? Because you can't just have the evil action figure. You have to have your protagonist. So who would be the protagonist action figure?
Well, I'd say in Grotesque, Mildred is the protagonist. I would say, even though she kills everyone, but she's definitely the good guy. There's some horrible people in those movies that get what's coming to them. So even though she's the killer, she's definitely the protagonist. So yeah, I would love to see a Mildred action figure. We always say we'd love to see people dress up as her for Halloween. So far, we've had one. We had one young woman dress up as Mildred for Halloween, but yeah, she definitely has an iconic look to her.
That's interesting. Did you do the casting as a independent director? Do you have a casting director, or you do all of it yourself?
No, I don't necessarily do it myself. I have a say in it as a director, but usually Julie, my co-producer, and Elizabeth, who plays Mildred, they're on the production team. They kind of did more of it, but we have a reasonably big amount of actors here in Edmonton, but it's a small community. So that's why if you watch Grotesque 2, you'll see a lot of the people from Grotesque 1, even the people that were killed, came back as different characters because when we have a cast of like
so you used the Law and Order school for casting.
Yeah, this is eventually we kind of realize it's like, oh, we ran out of actors that we want in our movie, so it's like bring them all back.
I'm available, and I work for bacon, really, unless you have windmills, and then you probably have no bacon, unless it's turkey bacon.
We had an actor, Jeff Scott, who he loved the first movie, and he drove up here from Arizona to play a small role in part 2. Because we were like, it's like we can't pay for your trip. We don't have that kind of money, but if you can get your way here, we'll put you in the movie. And lo and behold, he did.
I like Jeff. He's been on the program a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
He is a. I think there is a place for him in Hollywood as like a Charles Durning type of character actor, where there's a role in almost every movie. There's a role for a guy like Jeff.
Oh yeah, like he's. I always say there's like a lack of I'd say older actors, because if you want like an actor in their 20s, there's like a million of them, and then 30s a bit fewer, 40s a bit fewer, and then just to have like a tough older sheriff kind of guy, there's so few of them. And the ones that are trying to find one that's good is not easy to find. So yeah, Jeff is I've cast him in other stuff. Just one of my new movies, I'm Haunted 3. He didn't drive up for it, but it's he did it over video. It's like a video chat part because he's just a great actor, and I wanted him in the movie.
Wow. Now, are you committed to the genre of horror, or do you have aspirations to do other kinds of movies?
I've done other like Hot Box is a stoner comedy I made. That's definitely not horror, and that one was
stoner. You say?
Too. What's that?
See, now I could have been a consultant for that, the stoner part.
Yeah, it's we even had one of our executive producers knew someone that knew Tommy Chong, so we sent him the movie.
I know Tommy Chong well.
He gave us a little. Did a little promo for us because he's from Edmonton, right? So originally, he was kind of like gave us a little promo video, which was nice.
He would probably be in your movie. Like James Balsamo has gotten Tommy to do bit parts in like 10 different movies. I mean, I love Tommy, but I'm going to say he's a whore. He'll do anything. All you have to say is, I got a movie you want to be in. I could call him up now and ask him if he wants to be on the show Monday. He'd probably, sure. He's just very easy.
Hey, Brandon,
he likes to say yes.
I got a question for you. How do you feel about these horror movies being like remade and like rebooted, like these classic horror movies?
I say, like, honestly, like as a fan, I hate it. Although I say I won't mince words. And honestly, like some of them honestly are not bad, but I don't know. It's just like a lack of creativity, and it's like 9 out of 10 of them aren't as good as the original. And it's like I'm just sick of watching a remake, and it's always like it's never horrible. It's just like like I guess it was competently done. You could tell, they had good crew people and everything. It's just like there's just something missing about like I don't know what it is. Like they still make good horror movies, but they're the ones that are good are usually original things. It's never the remake of whatever they're remaking, and now they're just remaking everything, and it seems like it's getting faster. They're just remaking things, and then it used to be like 40 years between remakes, and now they're it's like 10 years or less between Black Christmases.
Yeah.
Then it's just like it's probably getting
before it even hits the theaters or distribution. If somebody's remaking it, that's basically.
And there's also, I'm not sure if you heard, but there's a prequel coming to Rosemary's Baby.
Whenever you say prequel, I get kind of a little bit excited. I have to tell you.
Yeah, it's called 7A. It's about the apartment where everything went down.
Yeah. It's just it's kind of like that, and same with like Exorcist and everything. It's just like I don't know. It just seems like it cheapens the whole thing, and like I don't know, like when's the last time that the community as a whole was excited about like a horror remake. Like there's other movies, Hereditary or something that people love. It's a popular movie, but people are never excited about the new Exorcist movie. Like it just doesn't happen, right? It just seems like they should put their money elsewhere and just try new things. But
so what's
it's funny you mentioned The Exorcist and how quickly that became, because when it first, somebody was celebrating the fact that the movie premiered however many years ago, 1973, on that date, just last week or something, and they were asking who was there, and when that came out, it horrified people. It made people really uncomfortable. I can't sleep at night, that kind of stuff, and how quickly it became just farce. Like I mean, if you look at the original now, it's not scary at all. It's just silly. But when it came out, people were like really, really horrified by it, and took it home. Not took it home physically, but took it home with them and lived with the mental anguish of it for months. And now it's just, you look at it and like, what the hell are we so freaked out about? It's just like stupid.
I think most of that was teenage boys who really liked Linda Blair. I think it ruined things for them.
When I seen that movie as a youngster, I was somewhat scared by it, but then I thought it was a comedy as well too, because especially it was like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. It's like, that is funny.
I use that line all the time, by the way.
We know.
Even when it's inappropriate, like when the waiter comes up and says, "Can I take your order?" I kind of throw that back at him. You don't like that. You're talking about originality now, and this is funny because this morning somebody on one of my shorts was talking about Led Zeppelin and said they were the most they ripped off more people. They were just ripping off, copying other people's music. And my response to that was, it's a meme at this point, but it's not true. All music is derivative. There is no such thing as an original riff or original note or we only have so many notes, so many chords to work with, and everything, especially in popular music, is derivative in some form, and you can find something that either influenced it really, really hard or it just sounds like copied from. You can do that with almost anything. With movies, I think it's the same thing. Like in horror, especially, there is no new ideas that could scare the shit out of people. Or am I wrong? Do you disagree with is there something new that can break the human psyche? Like I never thought of that before. Oh, now I want to go hide under my bed.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, yeah, like I mean, even like I love like 80s slasher movies, and yeah, they all kind of rip each other off, and they all kind of, well, you'd say they came from Friday the 13th or Halloween, or you'd say, well, that came from like Black Christmas. Yeah. I mean, everything traces back to something else, but there's still some originality to it. It just seems like a lot of the remakes, I wouldn't mind if it was kind of like another movie, because every movie's kind of like something else. It's hard to explain exactly why, but it's the kind of thing that, like, as a fan, when you watch it, you know, when you see it, you know if they tried or if they didn't try. And a lot of ones, it just seems like they're not trying. It just seems like they kind of analyzed other movies that made money and put those elements in their own movie, and then just kind of like, here's the new rehashed version. And it's like, it just seems like they need to take more risks. I don't know how to solve the problem. I mean, there's people doing interesting things all the time, and it probably, seems like there's no original ideas, but every once in a while something will come along and be like, damn, I never thought of that. And then all of a sudden people start ripping that thing off. And I don't know how to solve the problem, but it's just like, it just seems like the people with all the money, like the big studios, are making the most kind of boring things. And it's like, I used to love Marvel movies until I started realizing that every single one of them is exactly the same. And I just hate that. Same with Star Wars, right? I hate that something I used to love. It just seems like the creativity has been sucked out of it by the studio people who are just in it for the money and don't seem to care about the product. And then it's just, you watch a Marvel movie and it's like, it's the same story, just with different characters. It just, like, they all seem the same. And I don't know. I kind of hate it. I'm not as a.
It comes down to the same equation of risk reward in investments or in art. It's all the same thing. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. And if you're not willing to take risks, you're going to come out with something that is mediocre at best. And I think it kills art when we just are afraid to take any risk or try something new. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
Back in the day. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ron.
Part of that problem is there's only like a few movie studios now, because like Disney owns 60% of the box office. So that means the other 4% or 40% are like the two other large corporations and whatever's left. So we've done it to ourselves. We've allowed
same stuff with television, radio, all this kind of stuff. Everything has been consolidated into the hands of few. But again, that feeds into when you get that corporate mentality, they don't want to take risks. They want to be sure. If you're too comfortable and too sure, and in some ways you're minimizing your profit, but they'd rather be sure of a small profit than take a risk and get like a huge profit. Have the next,
Yeah. And as soon as they make something that makes a lot of money, instead of trying something else, they just repeat that thing 1,000 times over until they've milked every last cent of it.
What do you think? I'll say, back in the day, MGM made a mint off of their formula of boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, and then you sprinkle the popcorn scene in the middle, so the movies can make money off of the popcorn during the boring part. MGM, made a mint. So I don't know if anybody, at least in the corporate world, is going to go away from formulas once they got the formulas that make money for them.
Yeah. And you can't blame it for them. I mean, their job's on the line too if the movie doesn't make money. But it's kind of this thing. It's like, you need money to make the movie. And for people like me, where it's like you remove that the corporate aspect of it, and it's just the artists making things. Well, then we kind of suffer too, because we just don't have the money to, make a sustainable living at it. And it's just like we don't have the money we don't have the marketing money to get the movie in front of everyone. So it's kind of like both sides of the equation. You suffer a little bit.
Does it frustrate you when you see a show or a movie that gets canceled or doesn't get shelved for whatever reason, and then there's an online petition of fans? Does that frustrate you?
Uh, Not really. It's like I kind of like the fact that there are fans that kind of congregate around certain things. It is nice, and it's not always the really big things. Like sometimes it is, but sometimes there's smaller things too. Like you with Firefly or whatever during that whole thing. There's things that people like something that like a lot of people aren't willing to give a chance, and it's like, hey, if you get enough fans for something, you can keep it sustainable. So I kind of like that there are fans. I mean, we have grotesque fans. It's not on the same level as Marvel, but we have just like a handful of people that absolutely love it, and I'm kind of grateful for that because that kind of like rabid fandom helps get things made. I mean, I'm sure there's a negative side to it as well, but I would say it doesn't really bother me.
Now,
Okay.
in the
What
Matilda
about?
world, go on.
I was going to ask. So, do you have a favorite modern horror movie currently?
Oh, that's like
Grotesque 2 is his
yeah,
favorite
but
horror
I had
movie.
to think. I don't know. I like some. Like I guess Hereditary is still modern, and Midsummer. I really like those ones. I loved Pearl and X, the Ty West movies. Really like those ones. It just seems it's almost like they're coming out too fast now. Where it's like I watch so many horror movies and they all start to blend together, and then I got to someone mentions one, and I'm like, did I watch that? And I have to like think about it. It just seems like they're kind of too similar. But I mean, maybe that's my fault for just watching too many or something. But there are still
Is
good
that
things being made.
is that a vocational hazard? Like you don't? 'Cause I know a lot of comedians, despite what it might appear with these guys that I just let the cat drag in, but I know some real professional comedians. Again, I'm sorry, but they don't watch. They don't go to comedy shows or watch comedy specials because they don't want to be overly influenced. Is that a vocational hazard of watching other people's horror movies and then say, well, now I've poisoned my my creative pool?
It is something to keep in mind, I suppose. But I'm also like, I like making them, but I also like watching them. I'm a fan, right? It's kind of like if you're like a baseball player, but you just love baseball, you're probably going to watch it as well as play it, just because you love it so much. So I would hate to like not watch movies, for that reason. But it is something in mind, and especially if I'm making something or if I'm writing a script, and then someone points out there's a similar movie. Part of me is like, should I watch that movie to make sure that I'm not ripping it off too much, or should I not watch it because I don't want it to influence me, and then I could at least honestly say that I've never seen it. So, I kind of know where you're coming from, but it's like I'm probably not going to stop as long as they're making some quality movies, like horror movies. I'm going to keep watching them.
All right. Well, here I just want to point out a couple of things. Mind Dog Popcorn, movie popcorn, is going to be available in the minddogtv.com mercenary store. But you got me thinking about this because we do need to. Stephen is a voracious drug addict, and we need to pay for his drug habits. If when you appear on podcasts, you can like this one, this isn't a podcast. This is a digital broadcast. I'm sorry, I misspoke there.
Yeah,
but
I'm
sorry. Well, when you appear on programs like this, you can make them work for you by affiliate. We could put your DVDs in our store. You give us a little buck to throw towards Steven's drug habit or whatever, and you keep the lion's share of the profit. That's an avenue for increasing your revenue for your production. Sound good?
Yeah, well,
I'm getting you to
I'll think
commit to
about
a deal
it.
here.
This is perfect timing because I'm not allowed to hang out behind 7-Eleven anymore.
Yeah. All right.
Front,
no, but seriously, I think if you're an entrepreneur in the arts, you always have to be thinking of new avenues to increase your revenue. And I was just being silly with that one, but you have to be thinking outside the box because you are up against what Ian called a corporatocracy. I don't know if that's how he would pronounce it, but you are kind of up against the machine, and you always have to kind of be innovative, not just in the product that you're delivering as far as the film, but also how it's going to sustain you, right? In some way.
Yeah, it's always hard too. That's the thing too, is like by the time we finish a movie, we're always out of money and in the hole. So all of a sudden it's like we have to promote the movie. Well, we don't have money for like paid advertising, so all I can really do is post on social media, come on podcasts and other shows, and promote it as much as possible. But then, of course, we're on to the next project too, and that's going to take money. So it'd be nice just to have, any money at all, just to like push the project. But we're always just kind of
I'm
limited
certain
by
you have actors and people on the staff like Steven who need some drug money and stuff for their filthy rotten habits. Anyway, I have the IMDb link now because I couldn't find a website for the movie. Is there a website, a specific dedicated distribution site for the movie?
There is not. It's just, there's like a Facebook page, and then we have the Higher Universe website for my company. But yeah, Grotesque too. Your best bet is just to look it up on social media and check out all the stuff we have to offer. But yeah, there's no dedicated website.
Okay. Well, we definitely want to help you move it, and actually, because at the end of the day, we're all about creating good art and encouraging people to do their best work. But I don't think we can sustain art in our culture without having some financial reward for it. You can't expect people to continue to do good art, great art, especially, without giving them some food, some bacon, whether it's turkey bacon or windmill bacon or whatever. You got to keep them alive. And if we don't incentivize art in that way, there's no reason for people to make great art. They're all going to get frustrated, and you're never going to see it if it does. So, we want to help you sell it. So if there's anything we could do on that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, can we get? Are you working on something for the future now, or like in your next film now?
Yeah, we're honestly, Grotesque 2 was really hard. It just like not only financially, but like just the amount of work put in. Like it kind of just like drained me. So usually it's like bam, bang, and we just like one thing after another. But for this one, I'm like, I need time off to think. So I'm doing a lot of writing, and got another big movie coming up next year that I'm not directing myself. I'm just wrote the script for it, and I got a few other things going on. But I miss doing the comic books, and I want to write another novel and that kind of stuff, and just things that don't take massive injections of cash, basically. Stuff
cash. Yeah, I would have thought our comic books would take a lot more creative energy.
It's hard. I don't draw them myself. I just write them. So it's like a shared, it's like a team thing, right? So it's not so much work on my plate, but.
Gotcha. All right. Well, if to continue to promote Grotesque 2, if you could get Elizabeth Chamberlain to come on the program, put a little thing in her ear. Yeah, we would love to talk to her about this, because she seemed like because she's a musician and dancer as well as an actress, right? She might be a fun interview. Yeah. Well, if you can get her to come on, and anything we can do to help continue to promote this stuff, we appreciate you being on here. But do consider us. I mean, these guys are desperate. I mean, they would at this point, for name recognition, so somebody comes out to their dopey little comedy shows, and yes, I'm getting sued for slander. I see that, but to get them some, if as seen in Grotesque 3 or whatever. It would do it, and plus it would help feed Steven's drug habit, so I don't have to work so hard to keep him stoned every day. So we appreciate it. Consider us for your next project. Sure. They work free, by the way. I forgot to say that they work on a volunteer basis. Anyway, thank you for being here. Do please, put a little buzz in Elizabeth's ear and say, help promote the film. Come on here. Anyway, we'll do that. Thanks for being here. Have a great day, and
thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. All right, have a great weekend. Bye for now.
Nice meeting you.
All right.
Bye. Brandon Rhiness, or his Royal Rhiness. What's going on here with this layout? What the hell is going on with this layout? Do we know?
No idea.
So I'm getting sued for slander. So I'm going to play the news in the meantime. And when we come back, maybe it'll be settled by then. I have my lawyers contact this person who's suing me immediately. How do I play the news again? Do you guys remember what button I'm supposed to push? Is it this one? That one.
The Federal Aviation Administration has grounded SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets while investigating the cause of a first-stage booster crash on a landing barge.
After postponing the piloted Polaris Dawn launch late Tuesday due to an unfavorable long-range weather forecast, SpaceX proceeded with one of two scheduled Starlink launches, one from Florida and the other from California. The FAA stated that an investigation would be required. David Lang reported.
Following a recent visit by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, the U.S. and China have agreed, among other things, for President Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping to have a phone conversation.
The White House characterized Sullivan's two-day discussions from Tuesday to Wednesday with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi as candid, substantive, and constructive, according to a readout of the meeting with Chinese officials. Both sides also reaffirmed the significance of regular ongoing military-to-military communication. Jim Kender reporting.
The Supreme Court has declined to revive the Biden administration's recent initiative to cancel student debt for millions of borrowers, leaving the issue unresolved as the appeals process continues.
The justices rejected the Justice Department's request to lift a broad appeals court order that has blocked the SAVE plan, which has faced legal challenges from over a dozen GOP-led states in recent months. In an unsigned order, the court noted that it expects that the Court of Appeals will render its decision with appropriate dispatch. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Pavel Durov, the Russian-born billionaire CEO of Telegram, has been indicted in France for allegedly permitting criminal activity on the platform, according to prosecutors.
Durov has been placed under judicial supervision and is restricted from leaving France, as confirmed by the Paris prosecutor's office. He managed to avoid incarceration by posting a €5 million bail, according to prosecutors. Additionally, he is required to check in at a police station twice weekly. The indictment was announced on the same day that Durov was released from police custody following his arrest. Prosecutors reveal. Paul Gomez reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
A federal appeals court has revived Sarah Palin's defamation lawsuit against the New York Times, citing several major issues that impugn the reliability of the initial ruling.
Shane Vogt, Palin's attorney, stated, Governor Palin is very pleased with today's decision, which marks a significant step forward in holding publishers accountable for content that misleads readers and the public. The truth deserves a level playing field, and Governor Palin looks forward to presenting her case to a jury. Kyle Norris reporting.
At least 8 people have died following infections from listeria linked to Boar's Head deli meats, which were subject to a large recall last month, federal health officials reported.
The latest count includes 2 deaths in South Carolina and 1 each in Florida, New Mexico, and Tennessee, according to the U.S.
There it is. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Don't you feel better?
A little bit, No, I wasn't listening.
Oh. That guy, the Telegram guy, his name is Hawktua or something? Sounds like it should be. All right, youngsters, educate me. Telegram. Educate me. What the fuck is Telegram?
It was just like a WhatsApp type deal. It's just a messaging situation.
So what makes it better than just direct text? Because you got to have somebody's phone number to do it, right? And why is that better than just text?
It's just another social media service. It's like Discord or WhatsApp.
It doesn't seem like a social media the way he just described it. It's just a text thing. It's no different than like just texting them directly. Why do you need that?
It's primarily a texting thing, but you can have like groups on there too. But all of these services tout them as like encrypted messaging, so your texts are private basically. But that's really all it is. There's nothing really super special to it.
So, if I may, you're doing this to cheat on your wife.
Not
you personally, but I mean, if you're on Telegram,
I get what you're saying. But it's
or your wife cheating on you, one or the other.
That'd be more like
I thought that's what the Ashley thing app was for. What's it called?
Ashley Madison.
Yeah, I thought that's what that was for
But
cheating.
this sounds like the same thing. They're encrypting your message, keeping it private, so that you can talk to Juan or Ramon.
Ashley Madison, the thing that would that's like a dating app type situation. So it brings people to you. Telegram is one of those things where like you would need to exchange information, whether it be an email address or phone number, username.
Yeah, or you can share just simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was brought to you by a person who was suing me for slander. And pay no attention to it's like his way of getting revenge.
I want to go to Taiwan.
Perceived slander or libel. What I want to talk for a second about these people, because these people.
Whoa! These people. What do you mean by these people? Okay, I already look like I'm one hood away.
Look how
from
dark I am. I'm in the witness protection program. Ground guardian, whatever. These people. I'm talking about these people stuck in space.
Yeah.
Now, my son and I used to joke about Hitler being the guy in a U-boat taking Hitler from Germany to South America. U-boats were cold and damp. They weren't like modern submarines. I was like, can you imagine being the one guy stuck in a tight quarters U-boat with Hitler for 3 weeks? And while he's on cocaine and meth and all this stuff, freaking out, and you're the guy who's got to get him there. How long would it take you to want to kill him? If I were one of those people stuck on the space station right now with no like real plan to get back, everybody else would either want to kill me or kill themselves immediately, because I would be unreasonable. I would be the most obnoxious asshole. Not that I'm not already, but I mean, I would be more so if I was stuck up there. Just a sheer I did not sign up for a no ticket back. This was not a one-way thing. I want to go home to my planet. And they don't have any right now. It's like Boeing or SpaceX, and they're all saying, nah, we don't know. Jump. That's the solution. You guys just this is a haunting thing. That would be a horror movie. Being stuck with me and Hitler up on the space station.
Well,
you guys write that. Let's produce it.
It sounds like Carl's halfway there. That's why it sounds like that's why he's in South America hunting Nazis currently. And
we should get Carl to look up a Nazi while he's there. There is like towns that are dedicated to that, right?
I think it's more on the. I think it's more like what was the Argentina? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Argentina.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the Swiss. It doesn't matter.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much widespread throughout South America. There was, I don't know, I got sucked into watching that History Channel stuff, Finding Hitler, I think it was called, and there was a mountaintop village where it was all descendants of Nazis. It was like the Fourth Reich putting itself, reassembling up in the hills, and it wasn't Argentina; it was some other, South American country.
The hills are alive with the sound of Nazi.
Is that a Crack the Sky song?
Yes, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to mark it down on your calendars that GD has made his finally, after probing him, and I mean probing him for years to get him to sing on this program. That's what he comes up with. Is Julie
First
Andrews.
of all, I sang "Happy Birthday" to you earlier, and you forgot that already.
Really, I forgot that already.
You just don't care. You've just been insensitive today, Matt.
Yeah, you don't care about our needs at all.
We get it. You're the birthday boy, but we're supposed to be your friends.
I know. You're telling everyone how serious, crippling.
It is International Harass the Host Day here on the Mind Dog program, or Coffee with the Dog program. So I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person, and I'll show myself out. It's a shame, because you guys were going to meet a life coach that was going to change your life and help you actually become somebody, instead of being just a victim of slander and libel on this program. You could actually change your habits, change your life.
I hired a life coach to become a more terrible person. That's what I did.
Well, maybe she could help you with that, but without me here to introduce her, because I'm going to show myself out now. You're stuck, and then what do you guys do? You depend on GD to host the rest of the show?
No, because I have a life couch to go to.
Ronnie Loiza, and You think I'm pronouncing her name right? I mean, 1 out of 100
Well, let
would
me
be
see.
nice.
First of all, there are no W's or Q's, so that helps.
All right, yeah.
What other letters do you have trouble with?
Once in a while, I would like to get a guest name right, just once in a blue moon. By the way, are you guys? My wife says there's a blue moon that's going to be like a catastrophe, and world-ending blue moon. We have blue moons all the time, right? And then
once a blue moon, we have them.
Yeah. All right. Ronnie uses her experience as an aging, active, busy career woman to help other women like you guys to stop hurting and feeling overwhelmed. Women thrive with Ronnie's coaching. Do we have any women that actually listen to this program? Probably not for more than 30 seconds at a time.
Not since Kelly left. Actually, she didn't leave, but not since Kelly's flame left.
Well, we'll hopefully be able to at least send this to some women who might be interested. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ronnie Loiza, life coach. Ronnie Lowe, life coach to the Coffee with Doug program. Welcome,
Okay,
Ronnie.
you said my name right. It's Loiza. I lived in Venezuela for 5 years. The Nazis were all over South America, including Paraguay and Venezuela, and I also coach men. Good morning, gentlemen.
Oh, I'm excited. The semantics, is that what the word I'm using for? Just the term life coach.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of life coaches on, and I don't have anything wrong with people who are trying to help you improve your life or find strategies to make your life better. But somehow the terminology of life coach kind of
It's like woo, like what the hell's a life coach? I know, that's how I thought about it too, until I got into it, researched it, and decided to actually study and be trained in it and become one. Because really, when people said, "Oh, you really coached me well," or "You should be a life coach," I'm like, "What the heck is that for Real Housewives of wherever?" But it can really help you, and I do. And I have my own way, my own style. Of course, I take whatever the fundamentals are. And the reason I became certified is because I wanted to understand it and have ethics and training and a curriculum, But then I bring in my own life experience. That's why I said I'm midlife. I just turned 59. Happy birthday to me. But I bring in my life experience, and I'm also a certified habit coach. That happened along the way.
Well, that is good because these guys have the worst habits in the world. They're just habitually bad people.
My habit is I happen to notice that Betty Boop is in the background. Does she serve a particular aspirational function for you?
When I lived in Paris, right out of college, I had really short hair, and it was, remember perms? Oh my God, I was such an 80s child. Well, I had a perm, so my hair was really short and curly, and I walked in, I had this bustier and this French guy. We were with other people. He said in French, "Oh, you look just like Betty Boop." And I just loved it, and I became a big fan of Betty Boop, and I have a whole bunch of paraphernalia.
Now, were you not familiar with that before? I mean, you weren't a fan before that? Someone actually had to say you look like Betty Boop, and then you'd be like, wow. So if he
she was
said
way before my time, yeah.
So
let's put Stephen on the spot for a second here.
Okay,
Stephen, who's Betty Boop?
Animated sex icon from the 50s.
Did you just look that up? You just Googled it.
No, I know who Betty Boop is. That one I know.
50s, right?
I think it was like the 20s.
It may have been before that, but I know very pinup girl, very,
All right, you passed the test. You go back to whatever dirty habits you were involved in before.
Sorry, I was trying to turn my heroin real quick. Sorry.
Have we crossed the line?
I don't think so, no.
You have to forgive my children. They speak when they should listen. I have a sentimentality for my children. I let them. They're undisciplined. Anyway,
I have a question before we get into life coaching. Would you say that one of the key essentials for someone to accept a life coach is having soft and supple hands?
No.
Please excuse my children. I have a sentimentality for them. They speak when they should listen. Now, part of what I've read on your website is I don't even know, middle age. Like middle age people is kind of like your target. And I'm wondering, what is middle age? Because this is a discussion that we've been having. People think 50 is middle age. 50, nobody lives to be 100. So 50 is not middle age. I'm thinking middle age is really a lot, like closer to 30. And
40.
40. Well,
okay.
I don't think it says middle age. If it did, I'm going to change that.
I don't think that's the
Midlife.
exact terminology.
And the reason is people are saying I'm a midlifer because all of a sudden
Midlife.
they're in their 50s and 60s, and I've got 70s, and 80s clients. If they want to say that. You're in your second act. It's all up here. But people are living longer. Remember, in our grandparents' day, as recent as that, people weren't living past 70. And even before that, people weren't living past 50. In the colonial times, middle age was in your 20s. So it's all relative, I suppose.
Yeah. My father was one of 17 children. 14 of them were male. Every male died at 54. So there you go. So that's not even my grandfather's age. That's my father's family had a history of dying at 54, which I've passed by a couple of years now. But yeah, so this idea
to go into that, I'm saying I'm rocking it with midlifers because I had more, and I was surprised. Coming into this world, I thought I would be mostly with women, empty nesters, or helping women in their fitness and weight loss and all that. I started getting clients off of LinkedIn, guys, and I was scared at first. I'm like, okay. But then I wasn't scared anymore because I took each person on as a person, not just I'm going to relate because I'm a woman. And I really have helped people in areas that I didn't think I would be, because I thought I'm not a business coach. I was helping people in career transition, career growth. I bring all that up to say men in their 50s and 60s, as well as women, are transitioning careers. They're looking at new vocations. They're looking to grow in the companies they're in. They're becoming solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. So is that really middle age, or is that just we're expanding our lives?
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, I think the corporatization, and this gets into the society that we've built, but we've built a situation where people feel like meaningless. They have no attachment to their careers. They go to school for something. They learn to do something. They get hired. They get put in a cubicle, and then they find out, like, what is my purpose? What do I have any purpose in life? What am I living for? There must be something better than this. But what keeps them from actually going after what they truly want to do with their lives and being the person they feel like they were born to be, is fear. Like we kind of brought this up this morning. Sometimes you have to take that leap of faith and saying, I feel so unimportant in what I'm doing. It's worth it to take the risk to be poor and be at least authentic to who I really am. And I took some flack from those guys for saying that. I think GD wanted me to run the disclaimer again.
Actually, I wasn't even listening to you. So I'm sorry. What did you? Could you repeat that?
No, never mind.
Oh, okay.
It's just really re-identifying your purpose, what fulfills you, what really truly fulfills you. Remember when you were a kid and things fulfilled you? I go to my chest. That's where I feel it. It's like, what really feels fulfilling when we find that common thread throughout your life at those times that you felt something was fulfilling. Now, that doesn't have to be your job or being a parent. You can bring in what fulfills you into being a parent. You can bring in what fulfills you into your job. You can bring in what fulfills you into your relationship. But we define ourselves by our roles rather than our purpose. And I'm not all woo. I'm very pragmatic. But I consider your purpose, maybe you can call it a calling, but what fulfills you and aligns with, wow, those are my values and that is what I value, and it's what just fills me up and makes me feel great.
So this idea of dual purpose, because I feel like if I back up a little bit, I think sometimes we get an idea of what our purpose should be, like because we think about our dreams and what we really wanted to get out of life when we were young, and if that's not turning out, we kind of go searching for purpose and then decide on what our purpose is. And this idea of dual purpose kind of suggests that you don't have to stop at dual. You just have like multi-purposes and just pick out 100 if you want. But explain to me this concept of dual purpose and how that benefits us and how we use that concept to become better people.
Well, again, a lot of people go, you just said it. We go, especially in our 20s, maybe if you go to college or vocation, or you decide what to do, we go for careers. But more and more generations are going more towards what really fulfills them, not just dreams, but what they feel is, okay, I'm good at this, but maybe not on, or maybe I will be, or they go after some aspiration instead of just, okay, the track. What should I do? And we've always thought of that as just people that did that, or well, they're artists or whatever. No, it's everybody now that's sort of going into, and now more and more people are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, they're going after vocations rather than a job. Yes, we still have to do side gigs. Yes, we still have to get the bread and butter, but the dual purpose can be, I have this great job here and I'm doing this aside, or I bring in what fulfills me into whatever it is I'm doing. Like, this doesn't have to be the perfect job. I had a kid, I call him a kid, but he was in his 30s. He wanted to go back and go get his master's, and he had to get a job, just a job to pay for it and see himself through. But he brought in such joy into that job, and it was, I mean, it sounds like the cliche. He went into a restaurant. It wasn't fast food, but it was not a five-star restaurant. But he brought such joy into his work because he knew that was his way of making his money to go get his master's and go on with that. That he was told, hey, why don't you continue in this track, and we're going to get you in the what was it, that he can become a manager and move up in that company of that restaurant chain. He's like, oh, thank you so much, but that's not what I want. He knew he was there just to make money, but he didn't just treat it like, okay, this is my job and I have to go to it. And he didn't hate it. He loved it. That was part of him going to go get his master's. So you can bring in whatever your purpose is into whatever you're doing on your way there.
Oh, okay.
What I was it's funny when you talk about like middlers, like, because like I'm middle aged, and in January my job was outsourced, and so I worked for a large corporation for like about 20 years, and like my feeling now as I look for a job is I don't want to pretend to care anymore,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I agree.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big obstacle because I worked for a corporation, and I don't really want to go back to any type of job where they're like, right, push. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
That
And
is a difficult way to get hired, especially if you express that on a job interview. Like, I don't care. I'm just coming for the paycheck. But that's true. They want somebody who is going to be passionate about it. But a lot of the careers out there are not offering any real connection to how you matter in the world, and what we produce is going to matter to people's lives. And if you can't fake it till you make it, in that sense of gravitating and personalizing how their product or service affects people's lives, then it's really difficult to get passionate about it or care, to use Ron's word,
Well, that's
about
just I don't believe in fake it till you make it. No more faking it. No more. Maybe find out, and I'm not going to give you a session right here, but find out what it is you really want to do. They use that phrase, what fills your cup, but what do you want to do? And as you're looking for a job, because you got to pay the mortgage or pay the rent, why not enjoy that job? That doesn't mean you have to fake it. That doesn't mean that you don't have to care. You could care. It's just not your life dream.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to really care about the product if it's, especially if it's a product you don't use. Let's just say you were not a big fan of Doritos. I'm not the best Doritos at all. I'm just picking that out as a random thing. But you were supplying the world with Doritos. It's hard to care if people get a good Dorito or a bad Dorito. You're just there for the paycheck every day. So you have to kind of align. I think you have to at least align with a product that makes you feel like, I want to really give the world the best Dorito.
You just want to care about you and what your values, you doing your job and your performance, instead of caring about the Doritos. Care about you.
Good
Who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be a schmuck, or do you want to be a good person?
Now, have you found, like, since the pandemic, especially with people and careers and things, since the pandemic happened, do you find them to be more like that? Like they don't give it. No one cares. It's like I want to go do what I want to do, or for some reason now everyone has seen all the BS that was in front of them. Because even before I left my job, that's people used to care at that at the company, but ever since the pandemic, it seems like that's been on like a downward slide. And
Wow.
it
That's
seems to be a
exactly when I became a life coach. Yeah, because people started wondering, okay, they're furloughed me. I thought they really valued me, and they found out they weren't valued because of economics or whatever it was. So they started questioning. It's like, what do I really want to do? And can I do it at this point in my life? I mean, people were saying this in their 20s and 30s, like, really, you're 30 years old, you have your whole life ahead of you. But when you're 30, you're worried. When you're 40, you're worried. So yeah, people did start wondering and questioning. I mean, there was the big, what did they call it when the big sit out? What was it
The big
called?
resignation. I thought it was
Yeah, the big
something
resignation.
like that. Yeah. Now
And
what?
I don't want to say so much that they don't care, but a lot of them were questioning, like, what the heck am I doing, and is it worth my time? But go
Right.
ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
not just the time, but in some jobs, people were actually worried about their actual health. And
Yeah.
I think that's what a guy's like, wait a minute, I could die from this, and you want me to come in anyway? So I think that's what it was, because before that, people expected it's a job. People expected to be pooped on a little. It was a
Well,
job, and some things
Yeah.
people just expected. It's like I'm here because
I'm
I like the people. I'm not
I
here for
just
the.
want to apologize for that, because yes, I did make you come in anyway, but I was hoping that if you did die on air, it would be good for the ratings and good for the show, so your life would not be as meaningless as
Oh,
it is.
I don't begrudge you for that. I think that you should be looking out for ratings, number one, and then the health and welfare of us, number 7.
Yeah. Thank you for willing to
They don't want to
sacrifice.
be they don't want to be pooped on anymore. That's just
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah. Now let me the assumption when people hear life coach, and no matter what you call it, the kind of perception people are going to be having, the relationship is going to be like that of a therapist. Can you explain how it's the same or how it's different? Either one. Like, what is the relationship, and
Well,
how do you?
yeah, that's the most difficult part for me. It's like you can compare a mentor. A mentor is usually somebody who's already doing what you want to do, and you just kind of follow them along, and you kind of imitate them, and they do advise you, and they're more philosophical. That's a mentor. I'm mentoring you to be like me or to do what I'm doing. A consultant is just that. They counsel you, they advise you, you pay them for their suggestions. And, well, what do you think? Well, I think this is the best thing you should do. That's a consultant. They tell you what to do in the steps. So you pick the one that you think, okay, I like his style, I like what he's saying, or I'm just going to trust him or her. The therapist and the coach, that's the one that always gets me in explaining it, because when you know, like when you're coached, you see the difference, especially those who have had therapy and who have had coaching. The biggest distinction is that therapy there's so many kinds of therapists. Let's just talk about talk therapy, because there's somatic therapy. We
Right.
use body.
That's
There's
that's what I
hypnotherapy.
was alluding to. I didn't. Those are therapies. No, I don't know anything about it.
There's so many types of therapies, and they go way out there. By the way, Tony Robbins and the like, they're not therapists, and they're not coaches. I mean, they are not coaches. They're people
Right.
who found people who will listen to them, and they know how to reach them. And in the end, what do they end up with? It's kind of like eating cereal. It goes through you really fast. They're
Right.
inspirational, okay, and they have programs. That's not what true coaches do. A coach, I liken it to sports. You already made the team. You're already on. And the coach is sitting by the sideline, taking video. You play, or you go to practice. You go back, you look at the video. What do you think? What were you thinking then? Why did you do that? What do you think you can do better? The answers are in you, not to sound like Yoda, but they are. We really prompt all the thoughts in you to answer your own questions. And that's different from therapy, because therapy, a lot of it, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, yes, you do work on your behaviors, but we don't just give you a bunch of strategies. Okay, go do this, or go fake it till you make it. We really find, and especially in my style, we find your values and your goals but there's a lot in between. And we prompt that out of you. A therapist does a lot of just talking and going back to when you were a child or what caused you to feel that or how do you feel about that. Here's some tools, here's some coping tools, but they don't really fast forward you like a coach. A coach really takes you where you are and you progress faster. They kind of streamline things. Whereas a therapist goes a lot to find the reasons why back there in your history.
Right. I don't think I'd be a good therapist or a coach. And here's where I'm going with this is that because before you talked about people thinking I might be good at this, and I feel like I don't have much of a filter to BS people. And if they, because in this guy's profession, in comedy, especially since the pandemic, but even before that, there had been a rush of people who think, I think I'm pretty funny. I make my friends laugh. I could be a good comedian. And they really they need somebody to say no. No. I mean, it became flooded with people who were just delusional. And so I would feel like in that role, I would have to bring too much honesty to cut through the BS. Like, wait a minute, you think you could be a comedian? You realize that most comedians start the journey at a very young age and perfect the craft of making people laugh. There's a big difference between. And this used to happen in music, which is why I can relate to it. In the 70s, when I was doing it, everybody wanted to be a rock star. And it was like they were delusional about it. They were believing I have the talent, but talent is never enough. It's work and it's learning the craft and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't think I would be, it's your role. Do you ever feel compelled to say, you need to get a reality check and slow down?
Okay, I'm not their consultant. I'm not their manager. I'm not their mom. I'm not going to tell them. My opinion doesn't matter. They can't even ask me my opinion because we always turn it back to, do you know what it really takes? We have them explore. We have them research. I have people do their homework all the time. How viable is this? Why do you think you can do it? Why do you think you can't do it? We look at all the work they may have to do in that instance, for example.
So if I came to you and I said, I really want to be a handsome leading man in a Hollywood movie, you would just
stopped laughing, after she stopped laughing at you.
Yeah, after you stop laughing, you would just ask me enough questions till I answered my own reasons why that's an unattainable aspiration for me. Or you would try to help me fulfill whatever I need.
Somebody with that kind of goal that was so specific, saying I want to be a leading man or whatever. I have had artists and I have had writers who wanted to start writing, who wanted to bring their business aspect of it rather than just, well, I paint all the time, but I haven't sold a thing. Well, they haven't started their business. So I've never had that. But I would get to the crux of, what do you really want to do? Why do you want to be that? And answer your own question. And if that's really what you want to do, well, how viable is that? Let's look into it. I mean, you would go out and maybe ask a manager, maybe ask a bunch of talent scouts, maybe ask a bunch of casting directors, maybe whatever it takes to do your homework to find out the truth. And maybe you are a leading man. We don't know. That's pretty subjective.
I think we know.
He's a
maybe that's a self-defeating belief I have about myself, but I think I know. I think I know the answer to that.
He's a misleading man.
He started acting in his 40s.
That ship sailed like 40 years ago or something. But I do think, because I have interviewed a lot of people who are starting out in show business or for whatever you want to call it. Fame is the goal, because she has like, why do you want to do that? From a lot of these people, feeling like they're nobody and wanting to get out of this feeling of, I'm a nobody, I want to be a somebody that people remember, somebody that people recognize. Fame as a goal within itself. And I always try to explain that fame is a byproduct of adding value to people's lives. People who get famous because people want to celebrate the joy they've brought to them, the inspiration they brought to them, all those kinds of things. If you don't focus on providing something of value for people, fame of itself is an empty goal to try to achieve. But a lot of people are caught up in that. I just want to be famous. I had one guy who was very honest, and I just got to get famous. Just got to get for what? I don't care. I just want to be famous.
They wanted value or money. But isn't it interesting that the artists, I'm talking comics, writers, actors, directors, whoever, those people really, the fame, it's like, oh my gosh, that's a sidebar that I appreciate. I know it's part of it, but they don't want that part of it. Isn't it
Right.
interesting?
Yeah,
Especially the
yeah.
actors, like, I don't want to buy into this. That's not really what gets them off. But they know it's a byproduct, and it's part of it that they have to buy into and serve their fans, I suppose. But the ones, real artists, it kind of bugs them at times, or they're afraid of it.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like it's a shiny thing that looks attractive until you get it, and then you're like, "Oh my God, it can be overwhelming." Like I can't go out to dinner, not me, but if I'm A-list celebrity, I can't do the things normal people do on a normal basis because I have to bring bodyguards, I have to bring an entourage, whatever. They want to, intrude on. Everybody feels like they know you at that point. But why it becomes so seductive for so many people that's what they want. That's what they're after, rather than trying to just be great artists.
But I don't see that as anything new. I think people there have always been people that have wanted just fame. In Shakespeare time, Adam and Eve, whatever. There are always people that just want to be seen and valued and praised. And there are always those real scientists, those real artists, those real whoever. So you're always going to have that. That's not new.
So you're saying that Eve wasn't really all that much into apples?
She really wanted to showcase and get the fame. No idea.
I know. Well, this is interesting. So now I have your website, RonnieLowLifeCoach.com. Now, when first of all, I try to make it that you said you work with men too, but it seems like if I just went to your website and read that, it seems like you exclusively work with women.
You read my old website, because I think I rewrote that, especially after I'm now working probably 2/3 women, 1/3 men.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go back. Thank you.
Is there a difference in? Oh, obviously, there's a difference in the genders. I'm not that naive. I mean, I was born that night, but not last night. But with respect to trying to figure out the strategies of where I want to go and all that stuff. Do men and women approach that differently in how they work with you?
They bring in their personalities and who they are. And so I would say, and I know we're broad brushing, and we're generalizing, and men do open up, but men are quicker to the answers. Women really spend time exploring. And we also have different experiences or different takes on you can have a couple, because I do couples coaching now too. You can have a couple, and it's amazing how an event is described by each side or viewed or experienced by each side. It's like, really, were you in the same location at the same time? So you explain to me how it's what's conditioned in us and how we've conditioned ourselves. So I'm not crying like, oh, patriarchy, but yes, women have been conditioned differently. And we have conditioned ourselves differently. And the older we get, we bring in our wisdom and go, you know what? And we see a little bit clearer. But so, yes, to answer your question, women do bring in a little bit different things out of their bag, different things in their baggage. And men want to streamline things and just get to the point.
Pardon me getting a little creepy and inappropriate here. The lead singer of my band, he always wants to do the same songs in the same order, and I always say, my wife must be really bored in bed, because you just want to go through the same routine in the same order all the time. Like you're stuck in that. But what you just described, and I believe your stage persona is your bedroom persona too. But every word you just said that could also be described to the way men and women approach sexuality. Is men are quicker to the answer, and women prefer exploring more. It all seems like all that can be related directly back to the bedroom. Pardon me again for being inappropriate and creepy about that, but that's the thought that went through my head.
Well,
We
think
are
about
the same
it,
people.
when you watch porn, it's like a little bit of stupid play. It's not even foreplay, and then bang, 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 bang. That's why more men watch porn than women. Women are, and the industry's growing. Women want a plot and a storyline and a lot of innuendo and the sexual tension, and then okay, let's bang. But that's why porn isn't that big with women because, like, really, and they just get right to it. And it's just a bunch of banging around.
Yeah, somebody asked in one of the physics groups the other day what came before the Big Bang, and I said the Big Foreplay, and a bunch of women came back to me. She said, "You're not being honest. That's in